Okay.
Just tell us how you kind of got into cards. Give us some background on Mike.
Well, I mean, you already know I'm from Chicago. We both are.
Hmm.
South side, also west suburbs. How I got into cards was roughly like when the pandemic boomed, or not boomed, but when the pandemic happened. I started going to Walmart and Target and flipping retail, taking the investment then and the profit from the retail and buying actual slabs. So, and then I was really informed on the industry by Prism God. I know him as Raphael, but this Prism God kind of opened that door for me and taught me the ways of what the industry really was about with the relationships and how to buy cars and flip cars and the patent. And for me, it became a more so of a passion um, for the actual hobby, building those relationships and also buying and flipping cards. You know, it's not necessarily a how can I say it? It's not necessarily about always the money. And I think he put a post up there a few days ago where it's not always about the profit, it's more so about the relationships. Because like for me and you, we've never done business, but you're definitely a a light in this space for me personally. Just the
Thank you.
conversation that we've had in Delmar, like, you know, when I saw you in Delmar, we had like about a 10-15 minute conversation. But every time we link up, it's always a 10-15 minute conversation just about life and just about what's going on,
Yep.
just in general. You
Yep.
understand what I'm saying? And to me,
Yep.
that's more valuable than always trying to make a flip or just trying to make a profit or anything. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Know exactly what you're saying. So, what is your biggest loss and win in the hobby?
Um, I would probably have to say when I first got into the hobby, I put a lot of money into KD. I bought a lot of Kevin Durant, hoping that that first year, when his I guess his toe was that year when I was it last year, the year before, um,
Mm-hmm.
I lost a lot of money with that. So I probably say it'd be my biggest loss is expecting that the Nets would go to the actual finals and they didn't. You know what I mean? So that was probably my biggest loss.
I get
I
that.
still love KD. KD is probably like as of right now, next to James Harden and Lonzo Ball, like KD's like my third favorite player in the league right now.
I think Kitty is getting disrespected.
Yeah, I think, but he's not like I don't want to say he's not a likable guy, but he's not like what everybody wants. He doesn't do what you want him to do. He's going to move how he wants, and some people might not be acceptable to that. But as far as the talent on the court, it can't be denied. He is
No, no.
as of right now, probably if not one, definitely two to three. You know what I mean? I think Kawhi is up there. LeBron is LeBron. You know, LeBron is the greatest player as of right now for the last 20 plus. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, and I know people have started using the term with KD, greatest scorer in this era. I've heard that phrase kicked around a little bit.
yeah,
I think I think people are trying to crown him with something, but he is definitely what man is 7'1", 7 foot tall that moves like that, dribbles like that, will cross you over, take you to the cup, shoot the three, has a mid range. Who is that?
you know,
I don't think there's ever been a player in the history of the NBA.
maybe closest was Hakeem, just because Hakeem's footwork and his
Hmm.
ball skills at a 7 footer.
Hmm.
Obviously, they play two totally different positions, but I would say somebody at that size that was mobile like KD is mobile. And Kareem had a shot. I mean, he didn't really shoot threes, but Kareem did. He could step out, you know, that 10, 15 mid range, and it's wet.
Most
You know what I
definitely.
mean? And
Most
I'm
definitely.
pretty sure if he really shot threes, he probably would hit threes. But that was a totally different era of
Well,
basketball.
that's the question I have. Like when you look at Shaq, you're talking about Kareem.
Yeah.
Those big men weren't required to go out and shoot a three.
No, but they have a different game when it comes to, especially Shaq. It's a different game. Shaq is all power, where it's like I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm moving you out the way. You can't do anything, and if you do, it's a foul. If I miss it or make the free throw, I'm definitely going to hit this dunk. I'm going to get this layup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
It'd be interesting though to see how those players would adapt it. Because I believe when you're a great player,
mhm.
dominant at your position,
Right.
GOAT potential, however you want to put it, when those players need to step up and adapt, they will. Like people always say, well, Jim Brown, who was Jim Brown running against? But if you put Jim Brown in any era, Jim Brown's gonna do his thing. He was only running for 12 games a season. Now we have 17,
Right.
and he still put up his yards. So I think he's
Well,
kind of playing. I think Kareem, like you said, will step out, hit a three when he
yeah.
needs.
I mean, but like I
I
said,
think,
it's a different game. It's just a different game. That's all.
yep. Prism and thing says, what, excuse me, Mr. Get In and Flip It. What percentage are you a flipper versus a collector? Who is currently in your PC?
Well, my PC person, like I talked earlier, Derrick Rose. I'm like I said earlier, we from Chicago, from the South Side, also the West Burbs. So Derrick Rose is the second coming. You understand what I'm saying? Like you made it, Pooh. You know what I mean? So I have some Derrick Rose posters, some Derrick Rose cards, um,
Hey,
and
if you're in Chicago, man, and you talking about Simeon High School,
yeah,
you start talking about Ben Wilson, and you
man,
start talking about,
Benji,
bruh.
yeah,
I was
that's
just talking. I was just talking to a friend from Chicago the other day, and we were just talking about Len Bias and Ben Wilson. What could have been.
yeah,
And I can remember being in elementary school when the whole Ben Wilson thing went down, and Chicago kind of shut down, man.
yeah.
But when you get past those people, Derrick Rose, man,
Derrick
is
Rose, the truth. I mean, and all right, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk. Let's talk. So look, Derrick Rose is the greatest point guard in his prime, and I stamp that. In his prime,
I can't
he is
just.
the greatest point guard to ever touch a ball.
You and I talked about this before. I can't disagree.
In his prime,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Um, but to answer also the other gentleman's question, as far as my PC, I anything Chicago. So like I got some common cards. Also just Black History as well too. I've got some Tuskegee Airmen cards as well too. So my biggest thing with my PC is Chicago. So like if I see like a Bernie Mac patch or Kanye West card, Common, like I said, Derrick Rose, even even Jabari Parker. Like I'm a Jabari Parker guy as well
For
too.
real. Yeah, he was real.
And I'll keep it real. Even Iman Shumpert, I'm an Iman Shumpert guy as well too. You know what I mean? So Tim Hardaway. So
Yeah,
all of
Tim just won the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
shout out Tim. You know what I mean? So that people from Chicago that I grew up watching. You know what I mean? That's my piece.
Yeah, I remember that, man. Because every once in a while you're someplace and you'll see something Chicago related.
Exactly.
We'll remember that. What's going on?
What's your PC?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I love Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Michael, Michael Jordan, some Kobe Bryant. It all depends on. Like I purchased a Star Day card of Kobe. It's a card I always wanted. I'm prospecting on James Wiseman.
Why James?
Just what I've seen him do in a short amount of time. Let me say this: the ceiling of his game is high. He's a 7-footer. He can shoot the three, 31% clip. That's being 19 years old.
And that's fair.
He has a mid-range game. He can back you up, post you up, shoot out of the post. He can take the ball to the cup, and he was blocking one shot a game.
Do you think he's injury prone?
No, I think he got hurt once.
Okay.
And then if you look at a lot of players in the NBA, we talked about like tonight, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant. There's a bunch of players you can name who tore their meniscus at some point. So I think they say he's put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle. I think he has the potential just with that offensive game to be dangerous.
I agree.
And you put Steph out there. You got Clay out there. You got Draymond in his ear coaching him. You got Iggy coming back. And then we already know what Wiggins is doing.
Agree. Yeah.
I think it takes certain pressure off of him. Like he doesn't have to come out and be a dominating player. He really needs to come out and average 9, 10 points a game, 9 to 10 rebounds a game, and maybe about a half to one shot a game. And James Wiseman is doing very well for himself. And he's only 21 years old. So if we get him to 25, 26, is when I think you're going to start seeing similar stuff that you could see to what Jokic, who was a second-round pick, Embiid, who was hurt when he was drafted. Now you're talking about injury prone.
Yeah, but he's been good the last 2 years though.
Yeah, he's been good the last 2 years. But at one point, you know what, Mike? I remember back. I tell people this story. I remember when Michael Jordan broke his foot.
Yeah,
And people say he was a boss.
but that was a different kind of injury though.
He broke his foot.
I mean, he broke his foot, but it feel like it's different. I mean, you're an athlete. It's different between breaking a bone and tearing something.
Well, it's your meniscus, Mike.
Yeah,
You know, man, you can tear your meniscus picking up a paper in your front yard.
of course, of
Yeah,
course.
meniscus tear. And then when you're so young like that, that tear over time could probably heal itself up to 75 to 80% of the original meniscus.
I just feel like for you to be as big as you are, to be a big man, to have knee problems already, and I understand people, it's just a meniscus, but that matters. 82 games, 7 feet tall, two whatever, 260, 270, 280,
Something like
up
that.
and down the court, back and back, like it, that's a lot of wear on your knees
It is.
that you already injured,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But like I said, like with a bone, it's different. Like so we'll take PG, right? PG snapped his leg in half.
Yeah, I remember that.
Didn't tear any muscles, nothing like that, but the bone snapped in half. And
True.
I would say he's pretty much the same player. He's still dunking.
Mm-hmm.
And,
He's pretty much the same player.
but
Mhm.
you take Derrick Rose, who he tore his knee, he tore his ACL, MCL,
He tore
meniscus.
his knee up. He tore his knee up.
So
Yeah.
it's a difference from when you tear a muscle or a ligament compared to breaking a bone.
Yeah.
So
I think that's kind of where I'm at on it right now on cards himself. There's some football stuff. Like I love Debo Samuel.
yeah, I think he's a beast, underrated.
I
Very.
like Debo a lot. So I picked up 1 or 2 Debo
I got,
cards.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
How do you feel about Jimmy?
I don't think anything different I did last year. You saw he played yesterday, right?
I agree. Do you
He's
think?
he's an average quarterback.
So do you think he's better than Trey Lance? What Trey
Oh, yeah.
Lance?
I don't think Trey Lance was even ready to play the quarterback position.
Why do you say that?
You know how many games he played in college?
Like 3, right?
Something low.
Like three or 4 games. Something
Yeah,
like that.
he's not ready for that level of speed and what's happening around him. That's why if you notice his go-to was to tuck and run. The play he got hurt. He took 2 steps,
Snap.
snapped.
Yeah.
Other quarterbacks will be in the pocket. If they're going to step up, they're stepping up to throw. They're not stepping up to get out of that pocket. And these are the things that people think about with Lamar Jackson.
So let me ask you this, right? Well, Lamb Jack's a little bit of a different player than Trey Lance, but with Trey, so do you think the people that bought Trey, do you think he's a hold because you think he might be who they think he's going to be, or do you think you should just let him go because he's not that guy?
I never thought he was that guy. So
So
I never understood those plays. I know we all buy and do what we think. I'm talking about Wiseman. Somebody else could say, man, that dude's crazy. What was he talking about Wiseman for? He's injury prone or this or that. He only played 3 games at Memphis. So this is like the same thing with Steph. Steph was in ankle surgeries
Yeah.
the first 2 years. And if you watch him now, he's braced up. His ankles are double taped.
Yeah. Brace.
And he's braced up in those shoes.
Yeah.
He has those shoes double tied.
Yeah.
If you watch him tie his shoe again, he's going through a process to make sure. And he's always checking on the court how his foot is in his shoe. There are things that he's always doing. And then like last year when he got his ankle rolled on, everybody didn't know how that was going to end. So those things, like we talk about Steph and people like that, that's why I believe in some injuries, some people coming back from them. Trey Lance, I just never thought he was that kind of player. I just don't see it. Even like with a Mitch Trubisky having limited time in college, I just don't see that. And then Trey Lance went to North Dakota State.
Right, no way.
It's already a different speed. I can't say that people can't come from there. Jerry Rice came from Mississippi Valley State.
Right.
But I just don't see it from Trey Lance. He has a decent arm. I've seen some throws against Chicago Bears in game 1. I don't know it's all about the decision making. So what would I do if I had his cards? I would probably watch the market closely and see what are sales looking like. How quickly are they dropping? And if I want to recruit some funds, I would sell. If not, I will wait till he comes back because there's going to be a buzz when he comes back.
You think it's worth it though?
I didn't think it was worth it from day one. No, sir.
That's tough.
That's just me though. But that's not just Trey Lance. There are other quarterbacks that I look at, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. Who's the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers now?
Baker.
Baker Mayfield hasn't shown me anything.
He's got heart though. He's got heart, and he's got heart. But I feel like he's a playmaker. He can, if you give him weapons, he can make something happen. Is he like an elite quarterback? No, he's definitely not an elite quarterback.
But would you put weapons? Would you draft people and put them around Baker Mayfield? Would you invest?
If he's my starting quarterback, I got to. If I'm a GM, I have to.
I think I'm going to look to go get a starting quarterback, and then I'm going to do what you just said.
But I feel like this, right? You can still put those pieces in place, even if he's not going to be your end result as your quarterback. You can still draft a top tier receiver.
Because Minnesota did that. Minnesota
eventually there's going to be that quarterback that's going to be available that's going to fit your program perfect because you already have it set up, even though he may not be. You understand what I'm saying? So,
but Mike, this is what I say, right?
Yeah,
that's only like 2 quarterbacks, man, every 20 years.
That's like great or GOAT status.
Yeah, that's it. Everybody else is like okay to average to just bad.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What do you think about Russell Wilson?
I think Russell has seen his prime come and go. He played well at one point that he'll never see again. He's not going to play on that level. And I believe that Russell has some kind of hand problem. Because when you see him holding the football, it seems like it's hard for him to grip the football.
Well, last year he had surgery?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His hand is still not right.
Yeah.
So like last night, I saw him overthrow a guy, and it looks like he's just like I was saying earlier. It's almost like he's just holding the ball.
Yeah.
And he pushes it. So he overthrew a guy last night on a deep pass by like 10, 15 yards. That's not Russ.
No.
It's not Russ. I don't think he's the same.
I don't think him going to the Broncos was even really a good fit. I know he was trying to get out of the Seahawks, but I mean, I would have kept DJ Metcalf. I'd rather have DJ Metcalf than anybody that's on the Broncos to be throwing to if I'm a quarterback.
Yeah, DK Metcalf is a beast. I think he's going to be frustrated because he's not going to have the quarterback. Geno's not going to give him the ball like that.
Geno's not that guy. He's a backup for a reason.
You know, I thought it was interesting when Pete Carroll dropped dime, let me say, on Russ and said when he's running to his left, he's not the same player. Why would you say that in public, man? It's interesting to me.
It's a shot.
It's a shot.
Yeah, it's a shot.